Well, welcome to the third installment of the commission series at SCR. My name is Annie Abrams. I'm an actress based in LA, and I have the absolute honor today to talk with the brilliant playwright, screenwriter, and actress, and all-around wonderful person, Ana Nogueira. Welcome, Ana.
Perfect pronunciation. Hi.
Oh, thank you. Hello. It's so lovely to see you.
I know. The truth is, this is how I see everybody now. So I guess it's not that weird that I'm seeing you on a screen because this is our life.
Yeah, I know. It seems so normal.
So normal, but it's so good to see your face.
Me too. Well, just to give some background. So,
Yeah.
it was so fun to work with you during the 2019 Pacific Playwrights Festival when you were working your new commissioned play, Mask Only, which now, as you told me, has a new title, which is?
The new title is Here She Is Boys.
Love it.
Good. Do you approve? That means a lot. Okay, good. We realized we really could not have a play called Mask Only after this pandemic. It makes it seem like it is about face masks that cover you and shield you from germs, when really that's not what the play is about at all. So we had to come up with another name.
Well, I think I love that name.
Thank you.
And so when were you first commissioned to write this play for SCR?
So I received the Elizabeth George Commission. They give 3 out every year to emerging playwrights. So last year was 2019. Gosh, I think I got it in 2018. I think I wrote, is that right? Either got it in 2017 or 2018. Mm-hmm. I wrote the play rather quickly in terms of, like, usually you get a commission and then you, like, who knows when it's going to come out. But I really did write it, like, sort of within the commission time. You know, they emailed me being like, hi, checking in on this. We know it's not going to be done. And I was like, it is done. I wrote it. Here you go. So I think it was within a year. It's like I went to one Pacific Playwrights Festival, and then by the next year, I think I was in it.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's incredible.
There's a chance that there's another year in there.
Yeah.
There's a chance, but time has become quite elastic, and I can't quite.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did the commission come about? How did they contact you at first for it, or?
Yeah, I guess my agent had submitted it or sent it, and then I had a meeting in New York just generally about my other play, Empathitrax, which I had just written myself, not commissioned. And because of that play, they decided to give me the Elizabeth George Emerging Writers Commission. And so then they so it was like based on previous work, and then they invited me to the Playwrights Festival, and I got to see a bunch of stuff there. And then I think I got a phone call, and we discussed some ideas that I had, and this was honestly the one that I was like the most unsure of, the one that I ended up writing.
Oh, really?
It was like such a sort of like ephemeral idea, and they were so cool. They were like, we love all of those. Go forth, whichever one like sparks your imagination, like whichever one you feel like you could just write, like whatever comes out of you, go with that one. Yeah. And it ended up being Here She Is Boys, which was surprising to me. I almost like started writing it like as a joke, like this isn't really a play, but okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what comes out. And then the next thing I knew, it was just like, no, I love this. I want to hang out in this world. And then there was a play finished quite quickly.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was always positive to write this play. It was never painful, which is not always the case.
You're right. Writing. Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, and so I I wanted to ask you, because you had the one workshop, you had the one day workshop where we worked together first, and then and then there was a small audience for that. It was like a one day rehearsal, and then the next, and then Pacific Playwrights, which was more extended. What was that like for you, having those two different workshops, kind of one after the other, and how did it help? What was it like?
Oh my gosh, it helps so much. I mean, the most important thing for a playwright is being able to hear their stuff out loud, because eventually you're just like, I can't do this by myself anymore. You get to a point where you're like, okay, like I've reached the capacity where I'm purely using my imagination, and now I need help. I need actors and I need a director. And so when you guys did it at that like small table read, I think that was one of the first times that I had heard it out loud. And I mean, the truth is, like, that was really positive. And I think what it ends up just teaching you is like, okay, this works. Like, this is a play, this works. People understand what you're trying to do. Now you can go home and fix the kinks, you know, and make it more specific and make it better. But this is functional. And then in between those two, I think I was back in New York a lot, and I ended up having similar, just like around the table reads. You know, those are everything, because you can stop and start. You can be like, can you go back? Like, can you say this thing again? Like, can you try this line? And you're not actually trying for a performance. You're not trying to get in front of an audience. So you can really throw stuff up against the wall. You can tell your actors to make a choice that's like ultimately not right, but you just kind of want to hear it. And all of that stuff is so important, because you're hearing it out loud, but without the pressure. And then by the time we got to Pacific Playwrights, you know, luckily I had a ton of those readings just around the table, so that I felt more confident by the fact that we were going to have, because we were in the smaller theater, so we had like 4 or 5 audiences where most people just get one. We were so lucky. We had like a run of the play.
So great. I loved it.
So it was the best time. It was truly the best time. I know, it was like too fun. We were just like the happiest people. So by that point, I had the confidence, I think, to put it up in front of an audience, because the truth is, like, you can't just try anything when an audience is going to be there. As much as everyone says, like, oh, it's a reading, it's a this, you're like, yeah, but I'm not going to do something embarrassing. I'm not going to try something that doesn't work. Like, you have to put up the thing that works.
Right.
It has to be functional. You don't want to say to the audience, like, enjoy this, except for the 5th scene, because that's terrible, and we're going to completely change it. Yeah. So, you know, we had to like get something up there that we could be proud of. And I think because of those smaller readings, we were able to do that and do a little blocking, and you guys were able to just like totally let loose as actors and try stuff, which was my favorite thing to watch. Even though I hate watching my own plays, and I sit in the back corner and like hold myself in a panic. But other than that, oh my God, I'm terrible.
I was going to ask you, like, what is it? Yeah. What is it like? I mean, because as an actor in it, I knew that you should be as confident as ever. Sorry, I think that's one of my dogs.
That's okay. I can't believe my dog's not barking. Yeah.
So that's Andy. So I was wondering, what is it like that first night? I mean, you'd heard of Red before, but like, what was it like that first night at Pacific Playwrights Festival? Like, but right before.
Well, it's terrible right before. Like, it's so scary. You feel like people are about to hear like your diary read out loud. Like, it's just so incredibly vulnerable. Also, because like the play's a comedy, so that's to me scarier. I don't actually like consider myself a comedy writer.
Really?
No, not really. It's like almost by mistake that I end up writing things that are funny. I'm just like, I don't really do it on purpose. I don't have that like joke machine. If you're ever around like real comedy writers, like people that write sitcoms, they're like joke machines. They can like tell you 5 different potential jokes for one line. And I can't do that. I can just write dialogue that ends up being humorous. So it's very scary to write a comedy because there's a certain reaction that you're supposed to get, and you're going to feel really upset if you don't get it. So you're sitting there and just like, what if no one laughs? Waiting for that first laugh.
Yeah.
Luckily in this play, it comes pretty early, and then I started feeling a little bit more relaxed. I think you guys were also so competent that it was less scary, because I was just like, they're going to pull it off. Like, here's the thing. I'm an actor too. And so the reason it's so scary for me as a playwright is because I suddenly have no control. And when you're an actor, you are actually in control of the situation. I consider myself the kind of actor that can like make it work if a nightmare scenario arises, and I can be like, okay, let's figure something out. Not everyone can do that. Right. And luckily I had 4 people on stage that I knew would be able to do that, and would just be able to, like, we had like someone like messed up a line. Like, I think Brett messed up a line, and it ended up being like a little bit of a Freudian slip. And like, it was the funniest thing in the world. And he and Max just like let it lie. And the laughter went off. It was the kind of thing, like, a mistake happened and it was incredible. And not every actor can make that happen. And some people clam up.
Right.
So you get nervous because you lose control. I've definitely been in this situation as a playwright where we've rehearsed something a certain way, and then you let the actors go on stage in front of an audience, and the actor kind of like devolves to their old tricks and habits, right? And they completely stop doing the thing you directed them to do, and it changes the course of the play. And you're just sitting there. You can't do anything. You can't stop them. And you're just like, well, now everyone thinks that that's what my play is. So, and anytime, so I love actors. That's never happened in a scenario where people have had a lot of rehearsal. It always happens in a scenario when they've had like a day of rehearsal and then we've thrown them to the wolves, right? Right. But it still makes it extra scary because you don't know what people are going to do once the lights go out and they step forward, and are they going to start doing something bananas? So that's what it feels like. And then you guys were incredible. And then that whole weekend was the best, because after night 1, I was like, they could do anything. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy watching my friends.
Oh my gosh. It was so fun. I had a spiritual experience up there on stage doing that.
Oh, that makes me happy. I had a spiritual experience in the audience. I think we all did. I think all of us talk about that weekend as just being like,
yeah,
that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned you're an actress. I mean, how do you think being an actress informs your playwriting process?
I think all actors who become writers are naturally good at dialogue. And I think that you'll find that most times that you have someone who's like a multi-hyphenate, because you just like know what sounds natural coming out of your mouth. Like, you just know what that's supposed to feel like. I think for me also, there's like, this is going to get so like esoteric. Like, there's a natural dramatic structure that people always talk about that I think can get really lame when you try to teach it. And I think can get really like schematic and like rote and paint by numbers, right? But there is a natural dramatic structure to story. And I think one of the best ways to become good at writing structurally is to have been an actor, so that you have lived inside of a structure, right? So that you have worked out what it feels like to start a journey and then have something change. And then you're in this brand new world, and then there's a climax, and then there's all this conflict, to feel that is the best way, I think, to learn natural story structure versus like reading a book about it. And books about it can be helpful, but I think being a theater performer gives you almost like an internal compass that's sort of subtle, if you can learn to listen to it, about how to like take characters on a journey Yeah, I think that's it. Also, I don't know. I think it's really good to be in this business in multiple ways, because then you are kind of always stretching and moving yourself around, rather than like being like, I am a writer, and then you can get really tunnel visiony, versus like being on set as an actor. And I just think it keeps you flexible and stretchy, and not as obsessed with like getting your next job or writing the perfect script, you know?
Right. Oh, I love that. Love that. So
Everyone
inspired.
should do many things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess my other question was so it sounds like the process for Here She Is Boys was pretty, you had the idea and then you said it blossomed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What's your writing process in general from kind of inception of the idea to the first draft, or do you have different processes, or how does that work for you?
I think for like screenplays, it's its own thing, and that's way more structural, and you outline it, and it's a little more mathematical, just because it's just a different medium, and that's like a whole other conversation. But in terms of plays, I tend to wait a while before I start writing. I have an idea, and then I let it kind of bake in my, they're always telling young writers like, start writing immediately. And I'm like, that's such bad advice, because you're gonna write really something kind of bad, I think. Yeah. If you jump at it too quickly, like you're not gonna be, to me, the best way for me to work is to have sort of a genesis of an idea, and then to not look at it too closely, to kind of let it live in my peripheral vision and in my subconscious for a while, sometimes for years. I mean, with Here She Is Boys, when I think about it, that's a play that I think I'd been gathering intel for 15 years, in its own way, just like picking up little things. And if I'd tried to write it earlier than I did, I don't think it would have had the depth that it has for me.
Right.
And I think I would have written kind of a way more like straight ahead, boring version of it, versus one that kind of comes in sideways on some of its ideas. So I find that I have an idea, and then I let it sort of sit and lie. And then what usually comes to pass is a vessel for the idea. So like Empathitrax is a play about relationships and conflict and mental illness, which is something I knew I wanted to write about, but I didn't know how. And then the thing that came to me after not writing that idea for years was this idea, this sci-fi idea about this pill that gives you this sort of, that unlocks this ability to feel what your partner is feeling, right? And suddenly that vessel held this whole big idea I was trying to talk about. And then Here She Is Boys is a play about gender and the relationships and the allyship between gay men and straight women, some of the misogyny of musical theater, the homophobia in musical theater. That's an idea I'd had for a long time. And it took me thinking about two people who wait outside the stage door for Idina Menzel at If Then, and she never comes out, to be like, that's the vessel with which I'm going to discuss this bigger idea. A play that I'm working on now is something I think I've been wanting to write about since I was 17 years old. But it's a big, complicated thing. And it took me years to think of like kind of what the appropriate vessel would be for it, to keep it from being like there's just bad versions, but like soap opera-y, obvious version that isn't complicated or theatrical enough for me. So generally I have an idea and then I'm like, that's a good idea. You cannot write that for a long time. You have to wait and kind of gather intel. And then one day you're going to be ready. And then it's all going to be, and then you're going to start and it's actually going to be quite easy. It's going to come out of you kind of quickly because you waited.
Wow. I love that. It sounds like you have such confidence in your, in that sort of interior development of, not forcing it.
Exactly. I actually think that's kind of also what I meant when you were like, how does being an actress help you? It's like, I've never put pressure on myself to be a playwright. It was because I had this other career. So, and now I'm kind of a screenwriter and that's sort of how I make money. And so again, it keeps playwriting like so sacred for me. I don't have to use playwriting to like churn out plays and like, it's like, no, I'm going to write a play when it's time and it's going to be good. And I'm not going to try to write a new play every year because you shouldn't, you should, it's a really, I do think it's a sacred medium. It's been around for so long.
Yes.
It's not like a Netflix series, which no shade there. That's just its own thing that can be sort of churned out and consumed quickly. And a play, you should write it in the hopes that it can be performed for years and years and years to come by all kinds of different people. And that can't be rushed.
Exactly. Well, and I just love, I love, like, I read the most recent draft and I just, I love the new things that you've added in there, just the extended some conversations and kind of it seems like you've gone more in depth in a couple points.
Yeah.
That I really loved. And it feels like it's breathing in a way. Like it feels like it's kind of like expanding and contracting and sort of, it's really
that's so good to hear. That's so good to hear. Because the truth is you can also rewrite and totally screw something up if you don't rewrite the right way. So again, it's about like not rushing it. And then the rewrites hopefully will be ones that do feel like they're correct for the play and they're not like adding unnecessary whatever conflict or mess. That's my advice, is just like take your time before you start writing and then write quickly. That's my process.
Right. I love that. Okay, just so we get it in, I have like 3 little rapid fire.
I love it.
For you.
Great.
Okay, so one is
weird. The reverse thing. I like try to fix my hair and I go to the wrong side. Okay, go.
I know. That's why I just do.
Yeah, that's good. Just as judge, because I'm like, which side is correct? Okay. Exactly. What a Zoom issue. Yeah.
I know. Okay, so when you're in the OC at SCF, what are some of your favorite places? Like, what are some of your places to go if you're in Costa Mesa?
Well, I feel like when I was in Costa Mesa, I didn't have any time to go anywhere ever. So let me just put everything had to be in walking distance because we were in rehearsal 8 hours a day. So, and then like seeing shows at night. So let's start with that. I will say there's like a hidden gem situation during the Pacific Playwrights Festival that is like somewhat on the SCR like campus. And it's like an outdoor restaurant.
Oh, is it
and it's super good. And I got salmon from there like every day once I discovered it. And they had fries and drinks. And then one day there was like an outdoor dance party. I don't even know what it's called. Water Grill.
Oh God.
Unplugging Water Grill. It was, we were just like, what is that little thing over there? And then suddenly I was like, well, this is all I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
And then the other place is in the mall across the street, and it's like the Argentine place. And we went and we got food there after the show ended.
Vaca.
Oh, which was also delicious.
So good.
I ate so much. We drank. We were so happy. That was a delight.
That was delight.
And then anytime, I know that I was staying in Laguna. Is that right?
Yes.
So then that's my other thing, is to just take like a 45-minute drive and be by the beach is my other favorite thing to do.
So amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, other question is, what is your favorite time of day to write?
In the morning.
Like early morning, or?
No, I'm not an early riser. It's not a time of day. It's just as soon as I wake up. I basically like wake up and have coffee and then start writing. And I really only write for about 2 or 3 hours a day, because I don't actually think you can write for more than that. I think you can, but you're the diminishing returns. You know, if you can get 3, I'm also really strict with myself in terms of internet and stuff. I have an extension on my Chrome called Freedom. Honestly, I'm plugging Freedom. This is my hashtag ad forever. If I could become a sponsor or whatever, the face of the Freedom Chrome extension, I would. It's like an extension for your whole computer, and then you give yourself an amount of time. It can be 15 minutes, it can be 4 hours, and it turns off your internet, and you cannot turn it back on until that time is up.
Wow, that is brilliant.
Brilliant. You like put yourself in writer jail. There's nothing you can do. Like maybe you could turn off your computer and turn it back on, but that's psychotic. You would be doing that just so you could check your email. So I do that, and then I take my phone and I give it to my husband and I say, do not let me look at this for 2 or 3 hours, like until this time is done. He's like, okay. And then I have to just write or do nothing. I have the option to like stare into space, which sometimes I do, or
that can help.
Right. Sometimes that's fine. It's just like, don't get distracted. Don't go down some Instagram rabbit hole. I can't do that. So those are my rules.
Yeah. That is brilliant. That's brilliant. And then my other question is, do you have any sort of quirky rituals or little habits that you have, like a favorite mug or
you know what I do? I actually have this here. I didn't stage this. I didn't. It's just they're always with me. I have these decomposition books. Can you see that?
Ooh.
I'm an influencer right now. I'm a Freedom decomposition book, vodka, water grill. I'm obsessed with these. I have them. I have probably 150 filled. Yeah. And then this pen is my favorite pen.
I love those pens.
They're the best. The 5, not the 7. I need a really fine point.
Yes, the fine point.
Yeah, the fine point.
Yes.
I buy these in bulk. And I handwrite everything before I type.
I love that. Oh,
yep.
That is so great.
Yeah, that's because then I'm like not stressed about putting it in the document and thinking like this is gonna be in here forever. I'm just kind of like breezy writing it down, and then if it's good, I put it into the computer.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Wondering, is there a place in the play? Is there like a favorite scene or like monologue or something that you'd want to?
Oh gosh,
read or.
This is just the beginning of the play.
Yeah. Do you want to give like a quick intro to the characters, or?
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing Jeff, who is a man, and Annie will be playing Judy, who's a woman. They are best friends, and they are waiting outside. This is the very beginning of the play. They're waiting outside the stage door. The year is 2015. They're waiting outside the stage door of If Then the Musical, starring Idina Menzel. That's it. Yeah. You ready, girl?
Yes, I'm so ready. Nope.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely. Sorry.
I disagree.
But you can't.
Oh, but I do.
You can't disagree with the facts, babe. It's true.
Okay, let's all calm down here.
I bet I could find 50 people on the street right now who agree with me.
90% of these people are tourists. Are we agreeing with tourists now?
Ew.
I see it differently.
How?
Because the tragedy is implicit in the casting. The missed opportunity, the life unlived, the road you didn't take.
Wrong show.
But same idea. When Bernadette Peters says, I was born too soon and I started too late. With what I have in me, I could have been better than any of you. I believe her. I'm like, you could have blown your daughter out of the fucking water. You're the real star. But you got pregnant, and no one wants to see a pregnant stripper. Not in 1920 anyway. So you missed your chance. Done. Oh, so
yay! So fun.
So fun. I love this play. I was laughing out loud last night when I was reading it again.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Oh God, the high-waisted jeans. Oh God. I was getting flashbacks to our performance. Oh my gosh.
Those jeans. Everyone knows high-waisted jeans can really ruin your day.
Oh God.
Yeah. I can ruin it all.
I don't think I've worn
one
jeans
day.
For 8 months.
Peter will come back and we'll do the play again, and it'll be wonderful.
Oh gosh, yes. I love this play. I really do. Well, Anna, this has been so much fun. I could listen for hours and hours.
Me too.
Honestly, you could do a podcast about this. It would be so fantastic. I just love hearing about your process, and you're just so brilliant. So smart.